Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Stromer ST5 Pinion. Stromer e-bikes have gained a well-deserved reputation for their performance and technology. One of their latest offerings is the new ST5 Pinion bike, which is marketed as an executive among e-bikes. The ST5 sits near the top of the Stromer lineup as their second most powerful bike behind the ST7. As you can see here, the bike is beautifully finished, a nice red sand finish, and offers a lot of performance and range that you'd expect at this price point. As far as specs, the bike retails for about $11,990, and then with some additional options like the front suspension fork and the seat post, that brings it up to $13,338. This has the Pinion Smart.Shift 9-speed electronic shifting, so it's fully enclosed, no maintenance, and you can shift while standing still, which is a really cool feature. That's combined with the Gates carbon belt, so again, low maintenance. And then you have the 750 watt motor with a 983 watt-hour battery, so you get really impressive range out of this. As you can see, the bike comes fully assembled. The Stromer itself has quite a big network, so unlike a lot of new e-bike companies, Stromer has a long reputation, so you can definitely get parts and repairs pretty easily, regardless of if you're in Europe or the United States. As you see, the bike comes fully equipped as well, so you get the full fenders, you get the rear license plate holder, which is something you'll find in Europe, the integrated light, so you have front and rear lights, rear hub motor, fat tires, so you can actually go on or off-road with this. You get the full rear rack, and then with this one we have the optional Redshift seat post, which has a nice little suspension, as well as a front suspension fork. So really nicely equipped, and everything's integrated into the body, which is nice to see here. With this size large that we have here, it is a fairly heavy bike, as you would expect with such a large battery. Ours comes in at about 77 pounds. And again, that's a size large. For the smaller size, Stromer advertises the weight as around 59, so you definitely have to be aware of that. Just the battery alone is about 10 pounds, so lifting this around or getting it on or off public transit or a second story is quite a chore, especially with these bigger e-bikes like this. Now again, with this bike, the new detail is the Smart.Shift Pinion, and that's something we're seeing with a lot of higher-end bikes, but this bike also features ABS, which is anti-lock braking on the front, which is nice. To give you a little overview of the Stromer lineup, you can see they have everything from the ST1 all the way to the ST7 with the prices rising accordingly, and you get much longer range. The ST1 is the most affordable option. It has their own 9-speed mechanical setup. You have 500 watt hours there. The ST2 adds Pinion with some of their options and 655 watt hour. And then as you go up, you can see there's an ST3, an ST3 limited edition ST5, which is 11,200. Then the ST5 Pinion, which is the Smart.Shift version, has the 983 watt hour at 11,900. And then the top dog here is the ST7, which is a full 13,400, but gives you 1,440 watt hour. So really impressive range. Now let's take a closer look at the fit and finish of the bike. As you can see, it has a traditional dual triangle frame, but you're not going to mistake this for anything but an e-bike. You have big fat tires and then a large down tube, which hides the large removable battery. The bike is really well finished though, as you would expect at this price point. Everything's really nicely designed. It's a full aluminum frame, and you can see all the welds are smoothed over. You have this beautiful red sand finish, which really makes it stand out in the crowd. What Stromer's done here is they really integrated everything, so it's very easy to use. You can see the handlebars are fully covered, so all the technology like the anti-lock brakes and display are nice and flush, and what you get is a really smooth aerodynamic bike. You can see the display is right on the top tube with a nice glossy finish. On the front, you have accent lighting with that little U shape, and we also have the optional suspension fork with the standard hydraulic brakes. These also have anti-lock brakes on the front, which is a really cool technology. So not only do you have regenerative braking, but you also have the anti-lock brakes, which ensure you can come to a stop really quickly. Here's another shot of the handlebar. You have the built-in light, so everything's wired in, and the accent lighting, again, on the head tube. At the center of the light, you have this little rubber cover. So you can pull it from the bottom, and you can see there's a USB drive slot there, so you can actually plug in other devices to charge them. And again, just the fit and finish on this is really high-end. Everything looks great. All the welds are sealed clean, and you have a really high-end appearance. We also have the optional kinetic seat post, so you can see you have a nice suspension fork there, so when you push down, it actually shifts. Gives you a little bit more comfort, especially if you're riding in the city with a lot of potholes. And with this is the size large bike, but they also have multiple sizes, so you can find the right one for you. Here you can see the kickstand, so it holds the bike up, which is quite heavy, but it does a good job. And then you have the Smart.Shift transmission built directly in the down tube, and then the door to remove the battery. And that's done by just pressing the eject button within the UI. On the rear, you have an integrated taillight on the rear fender, and there's also a license plate holder there if you ride in Europe and you have to have a license plate. You can see it's a rear hub motor here, which is an interesting feature you typically see on lower end bikes, but with Stromer, they've really dialed it in. So you have a really powerful rear motor that's nice and quiet, and then you have the carbon gates belt, and that's one of the best features of this bike, so no maintenance. And combine that with the Pinion Smart.Shift transmission, everything's fully sealed, so no grease or anything to worry about. And you have tons of utility with this bike as well, so smooth power, rear rack, and a lot of attachment points for additional gear. Here's another shot of it. You can see the frame's really well built, tons of attachment points. And again, no maintenance here. Just get on it and ride it. Regardless of the weather or the conditions, you get a nice smooth ride and great power delivery. Here you can see some riding footage of the bike. What's so impressive about the Stromer is just how smooth it rides, especially with the suspension fork and seat post. The bike is silky smooth, and then you have that nice power delivery. Stromer has really dialed in that torque sensor, so it matches your pedal force exactly. So if you want to go fast, you pedal hard. And the motor gives you that extra power. If you just want to cruise around, it's very transparent, so it's very easy to forget. Or even ride on an e-bike. Unlike a lot of other e-bikes that feel like you're being shoved and then have a loud buzzy noise from the motor, this is nice and quiet. And again, very seamless, so it's not really punching you. It's just nice and smooth and matching your actual effort. So really nicely designed and a really fun bike to ride. It's a great bike if you're doing longer commutes, as you can really cut that commute down in half with the higher speeds. You go up to 28 miles as it's a class 3. You don't have a throttle here, it's pedal assist, but thanks to the torque sensor, there is no ghost pedaling. So again, it just matches your effort. If you want to go fast, you can go fast, and if not, you can just cruise. You have the integrated lights too, so you don't really need to add anything. And the color display here is nice and responsive. We do wish it was a little bit bigger. It's kind of awkwardly placed on the top tube, but it shows you everything you need, your trip speed, your current battery status, so very easy to use. And again, with the integrated lights and the taillight, you really don't need to bring anything. You just attach it back to the rack, and then you can do your commute or just go cruise around. It is definitely a very expensive bike, so this is more of a high-end e-bike, so something you want to use as a replacement for a car, or if you're doing a lot of commuting, this can really make you feel a lot safer and get there faster. Even though the bike is quite heavy, the anti-lock brakes do a great job. You can bring this down to a stop almost instantly, and you have the confidence to ride this fast. And even though it is limited to 28 miles an hour in the sport mode or higher performance modes, it feels very fast and nimble like a lightweight carbon bike. So they've done a really good job integrating all the features and tech on here while still making it feel natural and responsive. Now let's go over the scorecard for the Stromer ST5 Pinion. We're going to grade it on 4 different categories: design, components, handling, and value. For design, we give the bike an A. You have really premium construction, a beautiful red satin finish, and again, little details like the smoothed out welds and really well integrated technology. Components here is also an A+. You get the top of the line everything. You get the Pinion Smart.Shift shifting, which means you can actually shift while stopped. Nice electronic shifters that are quite responsive, and then a really smooth ride. Handling is also an A. It's very confidence inspiring, even though it's a big, heavy bike. It just feels very responsive and comfortable. You have ergonomic grips, a nice seating position, and those anti-lock brakes to ensure you come to a stop very quickly. For value, obviously we'd have to give this a B at $13,000 as equipped. It's a very expensive bike. You can find more affordable bikes with longer range or more affordable bikes with higher power, but this bike is special, so it is something that's unique, and we do think it's a great bike. It's just not for everybody. It really is the ultimate e-bike. I would consider this more like the Ferrari of bikes. You get tons of performance, tons of tech. It's all really well integrated, so if you want a bike you can rely on, I think the ST5 Pinion is a great option, and you have no maintenance with the whole integrated transmission and the Gates carbon belt. So a really great combination. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram at The Sweet Cyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.